Thank you to the one source, the one power of all creation, to the beloved Mother, Father, God, that is all love, all light, all wisdom, courage, and compassion. I recognize that I, as well as all my brothers and sisters having this human experience, are the beloved children of God. Thank you, God. I know this message will reach those who are hurting, who are lost and confused. I know it will give them hope. It will give them guidance. It will give them direction and faith. Thank you, God. Thank you for this moment, for this day, for this life. Thank you for these amazing opportunities you bring us each and every day. And now release this prayer into that of the universal law. I joyously let go. Thank you, God. Thank you, spirits. And thank you, angels. And so it is. Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Warrior of Light podcast. I'm your host, White Wolf. And today's episode, boundaries. All right, what is up, everybody? It is good to be back for another amazing episode. So, I really want to start getting to the really cool stuff, like the mental transmutation and the internal alchemy and like the really cool, awesome high-speed stuff. But before we get into that, we gotta address some really key fundamental information that everybody needs to know. Today is all about boundaries. So, boundaries. The thing about boundaries comes in many different forms. We need to have boundaries with ourselves. We need to have boundaries with others. We need to have boundaries with the world. What exactly does boundaries mean? How I like to think of boundaries is a certain line that will not be crossed. And if it is crossed, then something needs to change. For us to start getting a good grasp of how to use boundaries, we need to first understand our values. We need to understand our character. We need to understand how do we want our life to be? What are the things that matter? What type of character do we want to develop? And what type of character do we want in our friends and our allies? What is it that our environment wants to look like? If we don't have any type of firm understanding in any of these areas, then there's nothing to build off of. If we have no foundation, you can't create a house. It's the same thing. If we don't understand ourselves on a little bit more of a deeper level and what we will and will not put up with, then there's no way of protecting ourselves. So, let's kind of start off with the 3 lower chakras: the root, the sacral, solar plexus. We need to talk about fear, guilt, and shame. When we are looking at fear is that thing that will make us go crazy. If we're worried about our survival processes, if we're worried about our food, our water, our shelter, worried about protecting ourselves, worrying about always being in fight or flight mode, then we're not going to be able to establish boundaries. We're not going to be able to establish values. When it comes down to it, there's different dimensions let me rephrase that. There's different aspects to this life. One of those aspects being survival. At the end of the day, each and every one of us will do whatever it takes to survive. If we are stuck in a place of fear, then we're not worried about our character. We're not worried about the things that are precious to us. We're worried about making it to the next day no matter what. So, in order to overcome this fear, we have to develop faith. We need to develop faith in ourselves, in our capabilities, in the knowing that we are going to be able to handle whatever comes our way. We need to have faith in those around us, those who are closest to us. We need to be able to develop trust. And we need to be able to have faith in the universe, that the world has our back, because God is with us every step of the way. But if we're not paying attention, if we're sinning, doing those negative thoughts, actions, words, experiences, then it draws us away, and then we end up into that place of fear. Guilt. Now, guilt is that aspect of when we know we are doing something wrong. It's like the law and order. You are guilty. Sometimes we are guilty of doing things that we're not proud of, doing things that have hurt ourselves, that have hurt other individuals. The thing about guilt is more closely related to when we are still doing those actions. And so we have to learn to stop. We have to first recognize what we're doing, and then we have to learn how to stop doing those things that make us guilty, that we know deep in our hearts that it is not right for us to be doing. A lot of times, hurt people hurt people. When we are hurt, when we feel like everything is against us, everybody's against us, the world is against us, then we just throw caution to the wind. We're just like, YOLO, let's go full throttle to crazy land. And boy, whew, you can do some real damage doing that. Some real unfixable type of damage. We need to slow down. We need to develop that aspect of acceptance. We have to accept the things that we have done. That's how we're going to learn how to start to overcome. Because once we have accepted the things, we can start building up that forgiveness, that self-love. When we have stopped doing the things that have made us guilty, a lot of times things come back from the past and we start feeling that humiliation. Even though we're not still doing the things that we were guilty of, even though we have gone down a new road and have made a new leaf, a lot of times things like to pop back up. Them weeds are hard to get rid of. And this is how I think of shame. Shame are those weeds of humiliation, are those things in the background that we would wish we could forget about. And so guilt and shame a lot of times go hand in hand. Forgiveness. We have to learn how to forgive. We need to learn how to forgive those that we blame. We need to learn how to forgive ourselves. We need to learn just how to forgive the whole process of it, because we are all on this journey of learning. And sometimes it is very painful. Sometimes it hurts like a mofo. But that's why we first forgive. When we forgive ourselves, it is like dropping an anchor. When we forgive others, forgive, But don't forget, it is like dropping an anchor. We're dropping all of that baggage that has been weighing us down for so long. So even when those things try to pop back up, when people try to remind us of things that we've done in the past, it doesn't matter, because we have forgiven ourselves. We have forgiven everybody involved. We have leveled up to a point of understanding that that experience was part of the journey. It was needed for our growth and our development. And now we are choosing to make better decisions. We are choosing to be the example we wish we were back then. Forgiveness is one aspect, but that love, self-love, the power of self-love is unbelievable. So, forgiveness, first of all, is a continuous process. You're not going to forgive just one time. And you're probably not going to forgive everything at once. It takes a while. It's a process. It's ups and downs. Sometimes revisiting the same memories 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And learning to forgive more and more and more each and every time. Self-love. Self-love is that superpower that we become our own best friends. We start recognizing and seeing the person that we're turning into. We're seeing the choices we're making are better. They're for our future. They're full of love and compassion. We are now making choices that spread love, spread light, and that is something we can be proud of. Self-love is recognizing that as we go on this journey, no matter what happens, no matter who turns against you, no matter how much it might rain or snow or hail on this journey, when you get pushed into that very dark pit, that very cold area, you are there for yourself. You reach out your own hand and you grab it and you lift yourself up and you recognize you will not be stopped. You recognize that you're making the decisions, you're making the right choices, and you can be damn proud of that. Fear, guilt, and shame are those blockages. Those are the very first things we need to really overcome so we can start developing those values. Because when we love ourselves, there's a reason we love ourselves. We love the integrity we start to develop. We love the respect we hold for ourselves and others. We love knowing that you are developing a character with real backing that cannot be torn down by anybody. Forgiveness, no matter what anybody throws at you, no matter even if we stumble ourselves, we're able to drop those heavy loads. We're able to recognize it is part of the journey and to heal, to really heal, and to move forward with strength. And so, these are the first things we need so we can develop those values, the character. Because once we have it, once we have the values firm, once we know what we will stand for and what we will not take, what we will not allow others to put on top of us, what we will not allow ourselves to go back to. That's where we start finding our power. That's where we can start saying no. And once we are able to understand that this game is never a competition of you versus me, him versus her. It's a battle of us versus ourselves. And developing faith, self-love, and forgiveness is the first steps of harnessing our power. All right, so now that we covered the very basics of faith, forgiveness, and self-love, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about how I've used boundaries, how I've recognized that I needed boundaries, and how they played a role in the past of my life, in the current circumstances of my life, and how moving forward I have my boundaries tight. And so, when I was a kid, I talk about this in some the more earlier episodes about my childhood. But one of the things I've realized, because our environment plays a huge factor, everything's energy, everything is programming us because we are energy. And so I was big into the whole, Disney movies, video games, anime, and I had a real inclining to the hero archetype, the type of person who would go above and beyond to help people. And so for a long time when I was younger, I tried to fill a role of emotional support for my parents. Doing that, I've realized has made me, before I knew, how it was affecting me, I had lost a level of my own self-worth. I had felt like I was never good enough. I felt like I didn't matter for a long time. And it took certain individuals in my life to help kind of pump me up. But I never really healed from those experiences. So there were certain things that I just accepted. When I had decided to get married, when I was 18, just went to the military, I did recognize how important the character of the individual you choose to be with is so important. Now, I'm not saying I was perfect. I was nowhere near perfect. Nobody's perfect. And that's okay, because we're on this self-learning journey together. But boundaries that I did recognize at first, that I recognize now, number one, I will never, ever allow anybody who talks bad about me, who tries to tear down my character behind my back, who doesn't believe in me, who wants to manipulate me, who just wants to tear me down. I will never allow another individual like that into my space, into my home, into my inner circle. Let me tell you about trust. When we trust people, if you trust the wrong type of person, it becomes damn hard to start realizing some of the manipulations, some of the tricks that are going on, unless you have these boundaries. One thing I can recognize looking back just on my marriage, my old marriage, I allowed my partner at the time to talk badly about me behind my back to our friends, to her friends, to other individuals. And all I did was try to do more. I just tried to be like, one, I ignored it. And then two, I allowed behavior that was just disgusting and inappropriate to run amok in my own space. I've always been the type of guy who will go above and beyond for anybody. And realizing how important it is to choose who you're willing to do that for. Because a lot of people won't appreciate it. You know, I look back now, I was that guy. I would go to work, go to the field, I would do things, I'd be tired, and I would still be the guy who would come home, I would do the cleaning, I would do the cooking, I would take care of a lot of things. And I would accept a lack of appreciation. I would accept individuals belittling me, talking bad about me. You know, I guess what was it called nowadays? A simp. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Old me was a motherfucking simp boy. But it was part of learning. When it comes to boundaries, it is so important to recognize self-improvement is a good thing. Here's a second boundary that I've really understood. Anybody who wants me to stay the same, who wants me to partake into toxic and destructive behavior, is not going to be around me, is not going to be in my circle, is not going to get the time of day. Going back to my old simpy ways. When I was married, my partner made me feel guilty about going to the gym. Made me feel guilty about trying to improve myself. Made me feel guilty about a lot of different aspects. And I would just brush it away. And I say this especially to young men nowadays. When you're choosing your partner, make sure that they're lifting you up every step of the way. Make sure that they support good choices. They support good behavior. Recognize the toxicity in them and yourself and learn to overcome it together. Because here's another aspect that even with friends, when people are growing, because time changes people, you can start out with individuals going the same way on the path, but the choices you make, they all matter. And when we start making so many choices that our paths are starting to go into different directions, it's okay to let them go. It's okay for them to let you go. We don't need to cuss each other out. We don't need to insult each other. Sometimes we just start developing different values. We start identifying different things that we find important. And if they don't find the same thing important that you do, that's okay. That's why you have to have the strength of your own faith in yourself to be able to say no, or to say goodbye, or to say I love you, but we are going to different directions. I wish you the very best. I hope things work out for you, but I'm going this way. And to move in that direction with honor and integrity, keep your chest up, keep your head up, Smile to the world because God is on your side. Because when you live in integrity, when you really believe in stuff, when you really believe in where the world is sending you, go after it. Go after it with every single ounce of strength you have, because it will pay off. All right. So, moving forward a little bit more, let me talk about a little bit of when I started actually going through my divorce. So, initially, I had to fight, boy. Let me tell you, you know, I'm not perfect, and I wasn't perfect then. But when me and my partner went our separate ways, they decided to put in a restraining order against me. They decided to try to say that I was addicted, I was abusive, I was this, that, and the other. I was all these bad things under the sun. Boy, let me tell you, when that happens, you'd be surprised who will turn on you. I had some good buddies, some friends, or people I thought were friends, people I really respected and cared about. They didn't ask me for any side of my story. They just came at me. They just attacked me with words of negativity, with doubt, with things of that nature. And when you're already in a place where it's like, whoo, you take a hard blow, this is where boundaries come into play. Because when these people turn on you, cut them loose. Cut them loose instantaneously. I'm talking block every single one of them. I'm talking about, hey, I wish you the best in life. Love and light. See you later. Bloop. And that's it. Do not send people ill will. If people turn against you, that's their choice. But this is where you lose your power. The moment you start attacking back, the moment you start getting angry, the moment you start being like, yeah, trying to play the blame game, blah, 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 blah. Brother, accountability. We take accountability of our actions. Acceptance. We accept the realities that is happening. We accept what people are sending at us. We don't take it. All right. We gotta be real. It gonna hurt. It gonna hurt, boy. Woo. It gonna hurt. But when you don't send them ill will, and you walk in that integrity, woo, God is with you. God will heal you. In fact, God's removing them out the picture for you. Those boundaries is how, in a lot of aspects, God works through us. When we have the strength to be like, okay, to walk away from certain things, it'll pay off. And so, you gotta keep your eyes out. Because especially in today's world, when people say certain narratives against you, look at society. I'm just speaking from a man's perspective who's been through it. Just because you're a man, people will think that you're this aggressive, crazy person. They'll think that you're incompetent, that you're incapable, and they will try to take your kids so fast. And let me tell you, because this is what it means to be a man to me. You stand the fuck up with your head held high. You do not yell. You do not scream. You take a breath. You get determined. You start with the baby steps of getting back your children. You start with the baby steps of building back that relationship. You go through hell. You go through the valley of the shadow of death for your children, because they are the ones who matter, and they need you in their life. But if you have a messed up moral character, then if the things that they're saying about you is true, brother, you've already lost the battle. This is why integrity and moral character, above all else, is important. Values. Because when you live in those values, that's where your power is. But when you break away from the values, that's giving it up. And if you give up your power, how you gonna get your children? How you gonna protect your children? How you gonna guide your children in this world that's full of darkness trying to tear us down? You can't. You have to be that individual who is strong, who is loving, so you can teach your children how to be strong and how to be loving. And I'm so grateful that God was with me, because when that happened, my head was spinning, boy. Let me tell you, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Surrender to God, first of all. Trust the journey He sends you on. Give it everything you've got to learn, to grow, to show yourself more than anything else that integrity in you is real. Because the inner world is a reflection of the outer world. And no matter what BS this outer illusion tries to send your way, just as long as you don't let the darkness dampen your spirit, the light from your heart, from your soul and your being will shine through, and you will get to the other side. And the other side is damn beautiful. All right, now let's talk about boundaries within ourselves. Okay, so White Wolf has been through alcohol addiction, porn addiction, sex addiction, weed addiction, spending addiction, tobacco addiction. There's a lot of addictions out there. And the first thing, we gotta get clear on definitions, because a lot of times, if we don't have the right understanding about things, it will make it so we are fighting ourselves. So here's what I use. This is the definition I give addiction. Addiction is when we have programmed ourselves in these different types of methods to not be in control of certain habits and certain actions, certain thoughts, certain feelings. Let me just start with the porn and sex addiction. My problem, the biggest thing I've realized when overcoming this was that the videos I was watching on social media was adding to a specific type of energy. You know, those types of videos where those girls in bikinis, maybe jumping around, maybe doing certain things, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, those things I was allowing into my energy fields. I was watching it on my phone and literally absorbing it into my being. And when I started putting the boundary, I am not going to look at this type of content in any way, shape, or form on social media, on my phone, heck, even the world. Let me tell you, I had a problem with going, I had to avoid the swimming pool for a while. All right. It is so real. I had to reprogram my thoughts I had about women. I had to put those boundaries in place of I will not think lustful thoughts towards women. And so at first, nothing's going to work out instantaneously. It's those baby steps. First, I started off with the videos, cutting that thing out. And here's the thing about addiction. Whew, addiction be doing whatever it can to survive. It is trying to get as much of your energy as possible. It is never really fun when you first quit things. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. A lot of times it is damn painful. Okay. But when I cut the videos out, whew, oh my gosh, I started realizing how much more strength I was getting. When I stopped masturbating, the power that we have inside of us from our seat is so much more than we're tapping into. When I was walking down the street, it took reprogramming my mind. I had to be extremely intentional, putting those boundaries in place for myself of I would not think lustful thoughts. I would think thoughts of love, of compassion, of, oh, I hope she has a nice day. Oh, look, a lady. Nice. I ain't gonna lie, there were some dry thoughts at first, but now that I've overcome to, a very, very farther degree, I'm able to, look at women obviously and be like, oh, either she's a very pretty woman, she's a very beautiful woman, and they don't have to be lustful thoughts. They could just be thoughts of, I think she might be attractive, but I'm not sending it's not going to a certain stage. We gotta keep that purity. We can't let it fall to a certain degree. Okay. And so this is what I mean by the boundaries for ourselves. We have to start putting in place those things of I will not do X, Y, and Z and stick to it. Putting those that I will not cross this line. Y'all know White Wolf. I had a huge problem going to massage parlors at one point. I had put in the boundaries of I will no longer go to massage parlors. Okay. And it's incredible. It's incredible how much energy you start saving, how much it transmutes into your goals, your desires, the things that actually matter. And it took different boundaries for each one of my different addictions. Okay. Alcohol. I really, for alcohol, the number one thing that changed it, I stopped really having too much of a problem with it roughly like the second year of being on my recovery journey. But my meditations, focusing on my meditation, starting to develop that day by day by day, I was able to start feeling the shift, start feeling how every time I drank, I cut off my spiritual connection to God. I cut off my connection to my meditations. I could start really seeing what was happening. And so then there was a boundary I had to put in right there. Meditation was more important to me than drinking, was more important to me than putting this toxic BS into my system. And so, whew, yeah, it's been a nice journey since then of not drinking. Yeah, that one's actually, I look back, I never felt good. You don't feel good after drinking. All right, it's like one of those things. That's another boundary. I want to feel good. Let me tell you, I had food addiction when I was younger, and I would say it at this point now is not addiction, but I still like yummy things. I still like, them sweet treats, especially in our culture. We like very promote certain types of foods. But then, once again, with the meditations and becoming more sensitive, learning how to develop the energy and start tuning it, you can feel how the food affects you so dramatically. If it's heavy, if it's light, if it's poison, in which I have to say this, I suggest to every person who goes to Walmart, who goes to like King Supers, do not get any more ground beef. Just completely stop buying ground beef from these places. Now, if you go to like Sprouts or Whole Foods, that might be a different story when it's like the more natural type of stuff. I don't know. I haven't tested that out yet. All I know is because I've become so sensitive and I just made tacos not too long ago that I had to throw all of it away because I could feel what the food, the ground beef, was doing to my insides. It was disgusting. It made me disgusted with myself. And so there's another boundary. I will never go back to the ground beef at Walmart, King Supers, any of these grocery stores that we consider grocery stores, but it's more like, let's be honest, it is just monopoly. Okay. Anyways, moving on. When I finally realized about my spending addiction, because this is kind of more where I'm at nowadays. I had to realize I was living check to Monday. Okay. Lynn Richardson, let me say her name right now. I want anybody who's going through any type of financial struggle, just trying to understand how finances work, go to her channel, her website, get financially educated, because that's what we need right now is financial education, every single one of us, because this is the moment of the game changer. And so you start understanding you need some boundaries. We start understanding we gotta live below our means. We start understanding we gotta do certain things with our money. We have to respect money. If we don't respect money, money won't respect us. Money can do way more for us than we can do for money, okay? And so, yeah, go check her out, lynnrichardson.com or her YouTube channel. She will help you. I swear, she's like a blessing from God, okay? Oof, our weed addiction. Now, this one has been very close to my heart. Ever since I was 14, I was smoking weed, and it got me through some really, really tough times. It changed my life back in the day for the better in many different aspects. But the realities of things, nowadays, I'm realizing, I'm feeling, I'm understanding how it's just been an illusion. Addiction is not rational. And so, when I used to use the weed for comfort, when I had nobody else, when I used to use the weed to just relax when I felt so overwhelmed. It's starting to put those boundaries in place of it's not real. It's not bringing me real comfort. It's not really relaxing me. What brings me comfort is developing my skills and my abilities day in, day out on my training. I'm becoming stronger in so many different avenues. In my Shaolin practices, in my wizard practices, in my financial education, and understanding how to schedule out my day so I am optimizing my time, because time is a gift, time is valuable, and time does not last forever. And the things that I want to accomplish, I know I need myself at my maximum capabilities. And it's being real. It's being real and putting the boundaries that my dreams and my future matter more to me than some weed. And I'll say this right now, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I fall back. Sometimes the pressures, they hit. But let me tell you, I get right back up. I go further each and every time. I never stop and I never quit. And I feel it more and more, and I get better more and more, and it keeps getting stronger. I get stronger day in and day out. And I know I'm leaving it behind. And nobody's recovery journey is perfect. I mean, some people are just, maybe. I don't know. I can't say that for everybody. I can only speak for myself. Okay? The journey has its ups and downs. But on the other side is so beautiful. My training, my meditations nowadays, bro. I can't even talk about that because I'll probably get shut down. But on that note, I want anybody who's going through addiction, who's going through any type of addiction, to check out my man at Addiction Mindset on YouTube. He is a blessing. He has got some wisdom. He's been through it himself. He's been doing the ringer, and he's here to help. And, it's about finding the right people, the right mentors. It's surprising how many mentors we can find off of YouTube, off of the internet. And it's using those tools that they have, that they've developed, that they've lived through themselves, finding the right people that resonate with our spirit. So, yeah, anybody who's struggling like that, go check out my man. And so, the last boundary I really want to talk about is when we are about to hit the next level. Because let me tell you, White Wolf, I'm going to become literally a Super Saiyan wizard, okay? And I say that because I know people will think it's crazy and that, it's like, what? But that's what I want. Because the greatest gift I've realized that people can do for you is completely underestimate you. It is like, please underestimate me. Because, like I keep saying, it's not about me versus you. It's me versus myself. And when you get focused, determined, and you start recognizing that God is with you, and you listen to God, and it's like you start understanding how your intuition works and how life works. We can live. I keep saying this. We are limitless potential. Like, straight up. We can literally do anything. And it's understanding how limitless we really are. So let them underestimate you. That is a gift. Let people underestimate you. Because then when you pop up and you completely shatter people's minds, let me tell you, it's going to be cool. But the last boundary I got to talk about is about the next level. Because not everybody can come with you on the next level. Some people are only around for a season, or a couple seasons, or a couple years. And that's okay. You gotta have the strength, you have to have the courage to recognize that when you hit that next level up, things require sacrifices. And I don't mean like no demonic type of creepy stuff. No, we ain't about that. I'm talking about sacrifices of your time, of your energy, of hard labor, of fierce determination, of waking up, working from sun up to sundown, working from the moment you open your eyes to the moment that you close your eyes. That type of sacrifice. And not everybody has that level of sacrifice. Not everybody can go where you go. And it's learning to be okay with that. You know, you ain't gotta say goodbye to people forever. It's not like you cut them out your life forever, or sometimes you do have to, depends on the circumstances, but that's why you have boundaries. Because you make the choice. Whether they're in the nosebleeds, whether they're in the bleachers, whether they're in the front row of the story, the movie of your life. So, I'm gonna leave it there. Boundaries is the first step. And just like forgiveness, it's a continuous process of learning, growing, and developing. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you realize that you're alone for a while, and it's okay. That's why God's there, because you're never alone. You are really never alone. You got your spirit team, you got your angels, you got God, you got a lot of friends around you. But it's learning to get connected to them. And to get connected to them, sometimes you gotta be alone. For a season, for 2 seasons, for a year, for 2 years, however long it takes you to get there. But that's where discipline comes in. Being focused on your purpose, on your dreams, on your goals. And knowing no matter what, you are going to get there. And so, to my family of brothers and sisters having this human experience, we are all amazing. We are all beautiful. Work on the boundaries. Let us all work on our boundaries. Let's become stronger. Let us all become stronger. And until the next exciting episode of the Warrior of Light podcast, have a blessed, magical day.